everybody, this is Dr. Charm coming to you all with yet another Sistas review. This is season 4, episode 9, and it's entitled Counterpunch, okay? And we open this episode with young Zachary getting arrested once again, y'all. Why Zack can't stay at the penitentiary? It don't matter how much money he got in the bank and how much newfound wealth, he can't stay at the pokey. Basically, the lady with the cute bob wig who had come up to Karen's shop, asking all types of questions about young Zachary's whereabouts. She is the person that made the arrest over to Zack's brand new penthouse, brand new apartment, duplex. And Jake happens to be there. The investment banker guy is Jake. And so Zack is like, hey, why am I getting arrested? And she won't tell him. Now, y'all, I don't know too much about the law, but I thought they supposed to tell you when they make you an arrest, why you going to jail. You're supposed to have a right to know something. So she just said, hey, you'll hear it from the judge, y'all. So Zack tells Jake, hey, make sure you put in a call to Fatima to let her know where I'm at. And Jake said, hey, I'll get a lawyer over there. And that's basically where we are with that. Next scene, we got Andi and Fatima. Fatima's leaving messages for Zack and saying, hey, you're not returning my calls, but you must be busy. So she doesn't think anything of it. Her spidey senses have not gone up, but she should know all them times Zack had been to jail and she did bail him out before, that if she don't hear from him for a couple of hours or something, she might want to check the jailhouse, child. But Andi is basically thinking about keeping the apartment because Fatima's like, hey, did you get your stuff moved out of there? Did you get your things back? Or and Andi was like, well, I haven't. I'm gonna think about it. The lawyers are gonna come over and talk about the deal. So she's really considering keeping this place. But we all know that Gary has a history of abuse and everything. So it's probably not the best idea, but most women probably would have kept that damn penthouse in that Rolls Royce. But Fatima does a really cool thing, and she brings out this rubber band ball, and she tells Andi, like, this is a rubber band ball, and you pull off a rubber band when you think about all the fucked up shit that he'd have done to you. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I think, a lot of our ladies need to incorporate this into our lives. It's an interesting little exercise. But basically, Fatima starts talking about Zack, how she's just really in love with him. And she's really disappointed in Karen and everything. And Andi said, hey, you handled Karen really well, which she did, y'all. Fatima was, she was cool, calm, and collected. But basically, Fatima was like, I really hope that that's not Zack's baby. We don't really know. She had been messing with Preacher Man around the same time. And I hope it's not Zack's baby because I wanted to be the one to have his children. Which I thought that was a really sweet and vulnerable moment that she said. And I know a lot of women feel that way. There's been women that had situations where a man had a side baby on them and they didn't have any kids together. And that's a heartbreaking thing. And this isn't that same situation because her and Zack weren't official. They weren't in a relationship at the time. They were still just kind of testing the waters. But the hurt is probably still the same, that, hey, you want to have babies for this man, and here come another bitch that's going to have his baby. So they're talking about that. And, we'll see what happens because it don't look like we're going to resolve who the baby daddy is before the season is over, y'all. It don't look like it's going to happen. But next we go to Sabrina and Maurice. And if y'all recall from last episode, Sabrina walked up on cue over there to the bank. So that scared the bejesus out of her. I mean, this is a man that had put a gun in her face. So she's telling Maurice, like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you entertaining this fool? And Maurice is like, no, I'm just being nice to him. He hasn't had anybody in his life to be nice to him. Yeah, you being nice to him is the reason that he robbed Brookhaven Bank to begin with, Maurice. I don't think you need to be so kind, okay? But Sabrina's like, she don't like it. She don't like it. She thinks something romantic is going on. And Maurice is like, no, I'm just being a friend. And then he cut her off and said, hey, we need to get to go. We got customers. I'm like, Maurice, that is your boss. You don't talk to your boss like that, but they friends. So the next thing we go to Danny is at the airport, and the cop that, I can't remember his name, but the police officer who is undercover that does the trafficking, intervenes with the trafficking of young girls across federal lines and stuff, state lines and stuff. He comes up to her and he said, hey, you stood me up, because they were supposed to go out and she ended up not going out with him, and she didn't even call him. Boy, Daddy cold as a motherfucker. And she said, hey, I wasn't really interested to begin with. I told you I wasn't interested in you. And he's like, well, who hurt you? Who ruined your life? Because you have to behave this way. And she just, she giving him all kind of excuses. But while she talking to him, he has to go take off and meet another plane or whatever to save some young lives. I mean, he seems like a good guy. I still don't like how he busted up in her house like that and did a breaking and entering. I mean, just because you got a badge don't mean you have to behave that way. So I'm not really feeling him like that. But I think, what he's doing is honorable because sex trafficking is a real thing. And so, but see, Andi calls up Danny, y'all. And Danny was like, why are you calling me up? She was like, oh, girl, I just want to meet. And she was like, yeah, with all the other girls. Because she already know that really it's like the clique is more like Andi and Karen is more like a clicked up, and Fatima and Sabrina, Andi and Karen is more like, besties, and then Danny and Sabrina is more like, they more tight. So she's like, why are you calling me? Do I owe you money? And we know why Andi calling, y'all, because Andi calling because she wants somebody to talk her into keeping that penthouse and all them gifts and stuff. So we can see right through that. So she's calling Danny, and, they said they decide they're going to meet up a little bit later and, drink or whatever and kick it. Next thing we know, we see Sabrina, y'all, back at the bank. Back to the bank with Sabrina, and that fine ass African that was at the restaurant, that owned the restaurant when Calvin and him got into it because they was looking at Calvin's outfits and assuming that he was homosexual. And they got into the fight, and Calvin left her with the bill and everything. So that African came to the bank, and he's like, I hunted down. I looked at every bank. I went to every bank to find you until I found you. And he's, asking her out or whatever. And she was like, no, I'm not going out with you. So he was like, well, here, I need to make a withdrawal anyway. Y'all, he wants to make a withdrawal for $200,000. Okay. And no, that was not his life savings. No, it's not. Baby. Sabrina looked, she was like, well, we can't accommodate $200,000. We don't have that much cash on hand. I can send you to another branch, or we can, if you give me a couple hours, I might can raise it for you. Baby. Sabrina looked up into that bank account, and she saw his full government name, which is Bayo. I can't remember the last name, but his name is Bayo. And Bayo had a balance in his check account of $36 million. I didn't know people that had that much money kept it all in one account, but apparently we got to the bottom of that too. And apparently he has multiple accounts, and that was in just one account. But I didn't know that they keep it in the checking account like that. I mean, you can't really bear no interest on that. I don't know. But I mean, hey, it's Tyler Perry's world. He can make up all the kind of fiction he wants. But anyways, Bayo got $36 million in the bank, and she still turned him down. So he left. But we haven't seen the last of the likes of young Bayo. And Maurice come up, and Sabrina was like, oh, it's $36 million in the bank. Maurice was like, what? You gotta go out with him? He said, I'll go out with him if you don't go out with him, because look, he said, I'll fuck for a sandwich. Something stupid. Now you got $36 million in the bank, baby. So they get to talking, but Sabrina, she's still stuck on Calvin, honey. Calvin ain't got $36 million in the bank. But she, they changed the subject, and Sabrina was like, what's up with you and Q? And Maurice was like, ain't nothing going on. She was like, you need to cut him off, because the bank, they wanted to fire you when that robbery happened. Because of course they're like, you knew the assailant. So of course they're going to assume it's an inside job. That's what happened and set it off, y'all. Okay. That's why Vivica Fox got fired from the bank. Okay. Because she knew them. Okay. So Sabrina was the reason why Maurice kept his job. It's because she said, no, Maurice would never do anything like that. So shout out to having some good friends. So Maurice basically was like, you a fool if you don't go out with this African dealing with little Calvin, honey, in them little outfits. So we move on to Fatima's calling Zack. Zack is not answering the phone. Fatima's still talking to Andi, like, Andi, what you gonna do? Are you gonna move back? Are you gonna keep the penthouse? And Andy was like, no, I'm just thinking about everything. I'm just gonna think about everything. And Fatima's like, bitch, you finna keep all of that shit, because most of us would. So the next scene we get to is we back at the salon with Beyonce cousin, Beyonce nosy cousin, and Karen And in comes walking preacher man. Preacher man walked in, popping up on her. You know, she don't like that. And he said, hey, did you look at my timeline? Because, I mean, this brother, he has constructed a timeline of their sexual activities in hopes of proving that this child is his. And she said, yeah, I looked at it, but I still think it's Zack's baby. He was like, well, you're going to make a doctor's appointment? She said, yeah, I called to make one, but they got me basically on a wait list. And he was like, what hospital? She's like, Vanguard. He's like, hey, I know the chief of staff over there. I can get you in with an appointment. She was like, no, I'll just wait my turn. I mean, and she's giving him a lot of nasty attitude, just nasty. And he's like, you know, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go. You know, I'm going to go. Baby, Beyonce cousin, he go back to the car to leave. Beyonce cousin look out and she said, is he crying? Y'all, preacher man was sitting in that car crying. Lord have mercy. And of course, Karen runs outside and she apologizes to him. We know of the two of them in a relationship who is more of the sensitive one. It's always one. But, you know, and she starts talking to him and he's like, look, man, this is hard for me. I'm really in love with you. I never felt like this before. I guess he didn't feel like that with his dead ex-wife and them two kids, with the one that shot herself in the head down to the salon. He didn't feel like that about her, but he feels like that about Karen. And he told Karen never felt like this, and it would just even be better if you just told me to just leave you alone, get out of your life, just be gone. And she said, but I don't want to do that. You know, I just need a friend right now. I need some space. And he's like, look, you know, okay, I get it. I'm not going to call you. I'll just wait for you to call me. And then she goes, no, you can call me. Karen, make up your mind. If you want space, that's exactly when you tell a person, don't call me, I'll call you. See, she likes the attention from him. And I think the attention that he gives her, she's really wishing that Zack is the person that would give her all that attention. It's a real fucked up situation. And I don't like the way she's treating Preacher Man. But again, he's the one standing there for it. He's standing there for it. And they say, I read this book one time called Why Men Love Bitches. So apparently Karen has read that book too. Because she ain't been nothing but a biatch to him. And he's still coming back for more. But shout out to Preacher Man. He's my favorite male character on the show. He's just so earnest and just good-hearted. I just really like him. And I hope she don't continue to treat him like this, because I really think that's his baby, y'all. I really do. I really think that's the twist, that is not Zachary's baby. Okay. Finally, we get to Andi talking to Gary. Gary is like, hey, I want to show you the penthouse. She's like, I'm not keeping it. Apparently, Andi took that rubber ball exercise to heart, honey. She's picking at that rubber band ball, and has come up with a lot of reasons why she shouldn't be fucking with Gary. And she said, look, this is all, even if you bought me the place and it's in my name and I own it, you're going to still feel like it's yours. You want to come around. He was like, no, I just want to show you the place. You know, he's love bombing her, y'all. He's love bombing her. We talked about the narcissism. And Gary just asked her to think about it. He said, can we just go to dinner? He gonna take whatever he can get. She won't let him come in the penthouse and show her around. So he's like, can we just go to dinner? And Andi was like, okay, you know, she didn't give him an answer, y'all. She trying to be strong. And then Andi said, she said, but I'm not keeping it. I'm giving this back. I'm not keeping the car. I'm not keeping any of it. And then Andi started crying. Yeah, I'll be crying if I even give all that shit back too, shoot. But next scene, we see Fatima and cripple ass Hayden up in the garage, y'all. Hayden is still hobbling around on them damn crutches. And Fatima is laughing at him, child. And he basically said, hey, you really fucked me up. And she said, yeah, but you fucked me up. You hit me and I've got makeup to cover up all these injuries. And he said, yeah, but you started. And she's like, yeah, you started it when you start fucking with my man. Hayden needs to stop. He really do need to stop. He is a little bitch. But basically, she was like, you better not snitch about anything, or I'm gonna make the next thing I'm gonna do to you gonna make you feel like your current injuries was like a spa day. Okay, so Fatima a gangster, y'all. Fatima gangster as fuck. Then she said, now make me laugh, bugaboo. I was like, shout out to Tyler Perry for the Beyonce reference from Coachella from Homecoming. Apparently Tyler really loved Beyonce at Coachella, at Beachella, because if any of y'all saw the new Madea movie, Madea's Homecoming, he did a whole routine, spoiler alert, he did a whole routine dressed in the outfit that Beyonce had for Coachella as Madea. That shit was hilarious. I mean, he had backup dancers. He mimicked the entire set. So apparently Tyler loved him some Beachella. That shit was hilarious. Next scene, we go to Q and Calvin. So Calvin walk into the house and Q is sitting on the sofa in the house. We don't know how Q got in, but of course Q is a criminal, so he broke in like criminals do. And Calvin's like, what the fuck is you doing up in my house? And Q was like, oh, Maurice said I can stay here. And Calvin was like, I don't believe that shit. And so he calls Maurice, and Maurice like, nah, I ain't telling him he can stay at the house. He put Maurice on speakerphone, and Maurice was like, get the fuck up out of my house. I'm on my way home. So he got to leave work and come and see about this mess. But honey, Q ain't making it easy. See, Maurice, this is why you don't need to be nice to Q. I still think this is a very weird storyline. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. We're going to see what happens with the resolution. So then Andi comes up to the salon. She's still pushing that whip. She's still pushing that Rolls Royce. She get up in there and looking for Karen. Beyonce cousin is like, no, Karen ain't here. Then Karen walk up. Karen see that damn Rolls Royce. So basically, Andi and Karen get to talking, and Andi has come to Karen to really reinforce her resolve to not keep any of it, to give the apartment back, because we know that Karen is really Andi's moral compass when it comes to this whole domestic violence, this whole situation, and that Karen don't give a fuck about Zack. She don't give a fuck about all the gifts. So Andi's talking to Karen, and she said, look, I'm gonna give it back. I'm not gonna keep it in. I'm gonna sell the goods and shoes and all the baubles and things he bought me, and I'm gonna give him the money for it. Which is weird. Like, why do you gotta do all that? Why don't you just put all the stuff in the penthouse and then lock the door? But basically, they're talking about that, and Andi just says, hey, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna do the right thing, but I'm gonna go to dinner with him because he asked me to dinner. And then she's like, well, should I go to dinner with him? She's so wishy-washy. And Karen was like, bitch, I got other shit to think about. I got a pregnancy. I got a baby on the way, and I don't know who the baby daddy is. Okay? And that ain't a situation that no woman really wants to be in. You don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to be a candidate for the Maury Povich show. Not at all. Not at all. But she basically tells Karen that she's called up Danny and she's going to talk to Danny and just to get a different opinion. We know the reason she want to talk to Danny, because Danny going to tell her to keep all of that shit. Shout out to Danny for being a little freeloader. I love it. So she's asking Karen, like, what if Gary really goes to therapy to get down to the bottom of his issues and stuff? And Karen is like, girl, bye. So, when you're dealing with an abusive situation like that, you don't need to wait for him to get help. Yes, I think he needs to go get help and get to the bottom of his issues, but that ain't how you do it. You're not going to stand by his side while he do that. Now, unless maybe if y'all are married, and that's maybe, but you're not married, girl. This is your opportunity to say, look, you go get some help. I will support you as a Christian in the sense of I will send you positive energy and prayers, but no, I cannot be with you, and I'm not going to be with you. And if you get help, that's for yourself. It's not for me. Because Gary, he still knows what to do to pull at her. And she says, I got to do something because this nigga keep buying me gifts. I don't know if he going to buy me a jet next. He done bought me everything else. He might buy me an airplane next, y'all. So Andi's in a hard situation. I mean, we know what she should do, and we know what she want to do. And those are two different things, and it's a hard thing. So lastly, Zack is back at the penitentiary, y'all. They call him and say his lawyer is there. Jake showed up with the lawyer, and Zack is just frustrated. He's like, why am I here? Have you called Fatima yet? And they're like, I don't think you want to call Fatima. Look at this. And Zack looks at the paperwork, and he's like, what the fuck? So I don't know if this has to do anything with Fatima getting Hayden beat up. I mean, I'm sure Hayden is behind this some kind of way. So maybe it has to do with Hayden getting beat up and he decided he was going to come for Zack in another way. I don't think it's the insider trading because of the look of shock that was on Zack's face about the indictment. So he's expecting to get in trouble for the insider trading. Whatever this is something he's not expecting and he's really frustrated about. So we'll see next episode. I'm sure next episode we'll find out exactly why he got arrested. And then, but let me tell you something, Zack. Somebody brings you a lawyer up to the jail. and you didn't have to make any calls, you need to be grateful. He's like, can you get to it? Just let me know. I wouldn't be talking to the lawyer like that after I've been up in Fulton County Jail. No, ma'am. I'd be like, thank you for coming. What can I do? Okay. He needs to be a little bit more grateful. But so we see next episode, I think they showed a preview that Robin is calling Andi, and she's kind of starting to be icy, a little bit more icy to him. So Robin better get back on that private jet, honey, because he's got competition. But, and then we're going to find out why Zack is up in the pokey. Look like some other things is going on. But, this all in all, this wasn't a super exciting episode. I think it did pick up momentum at the end. That very last scene with Zack at the jail, but it wasn't an exciting episode, but it was cool. It's setting it up. I think it's setting it up for whatever cliffhanger, Tyler gonna give us, child. It's setting it up. And we not finna find out who the baby daddy is. We not finna find that out no time soon. He gonna drag that shit out. Okay. He gonna drag it out. But I think in the end, this baby is not Zachary's baby. I think this is Preacher Man baby. And then what Karen gonna do now? Oh, and they did show a little scene where Karen and Fatima have another confrontation, and Fatima is talking to Karen, and Karen is like, why is Zack acting like this with you in about 2 weeks? But he never was like that towards me in 2 years, 3 years. And hey, y'all, ladies, sometimes that's a multi-million-dollar question. We've all been through that. We've all been through that where we had somebody that they didn't behave right, and then next thing you know, you see they going to get married and to somebody else with the quickness. They be with you 10 years and marry this bitch in 6 months. So a lot of women have been through that. So it'll be interesting that they talk about it. But I'm loving Sistas. Tyler got a hit on his hands, y'all. Tyler got a hit on his hands. And it's a cute show. The actresses are gorgeous. All the different hairstyles and stuff. And I can't wait to see the spinoff that Fatima and Zack are going to be acting in. This I think they're calling it Zatima. So that'll be cute. That'll be real cute. Like I said, Tyler going to make me run my coins down to another streaming service, child. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Make sure you like and share and comment. I would love to see your comments, and I would love some likes. And I thank you for watching. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.